Claire wiped the sweat from her forehead with the sleeve of her worn uniform, balancing a heavy tray in one hand as she weaved through the packed diner. Another endless double shift, filled with impatient customers, clattering dishes, and the ever-present scent of frying oil that clung to her skin. She glanced at the clock. 2 more hours. Her dreams of becoming a pianist felt more distant than ever. Once, she had imagined herself performing in grand halls beneath crystal chandeliers. Now, her fingers served burgers and refilled lukewarm coffee. That evening, a new customer appeared, in the far booth. A sharply dressed man, nothing like the usual crowd. His tailored suit, expensive watch, and confident air marked him instantly. Someone important. He looked out of place among the cracked vinyl seats and flickering neon. Claire barely noticed him until she realized he was watching her. Not with judgment, like others sometimes did, but with an amused sort of curiosity. Every time she passed his table, his eyes followed, not creepily, but like he was waiting. Finally, as she topped off his coffee, he spoke. "You're Claire, right?" She froze. Confused? Yes, sir." "I heard you can play the piano." His voice carried across the diner. Heads turned. Claire's cheeks flushed crimson. I used to," she stammered, fiddling with her apron. It had been years. The old piano had been sold to pay bills when her father got sick. The man smiled, pulled out a crisp $100 bill and placed it on the table. "Why don't you show us? That dusty piano in the corner could use some life." The diner stirred, whispering, curious. Claire wanted to vanish, but something about his challenge lit a small, stubborn spark inside her. Why keep hiding? What did she have to lose? Swallowing her fear, she nodded. As she walked to the old upright piano by the window, she felt every eye watching her. Her heart pounded. The keys were dusty, some chipped, yellowed by time. She sat, adjusted the wobbly bench, and took a breath. Her fingers hovered over the keys, then began to play. At first, the sound was shaky, like a bird relearning how to fly. But slowly, her fingers remembered. The notes soared. A rich melody filled the diner, gentle, glowing, like sunlight breaking through clouds. Complex arpeggios, delicate runs tumbled effortlessly from her hands. The diner fell silent, forks stilled, conversations stopped. Even the cooks peeked from the kitchen, frozen in awe. Claire was gone, lost in the music. Her soul poured into every note. Her face softened, her back straightened. She was no longer a tired waitress. She was a storyteller speaking through sound. The man leaned forward, the playful smirk gone, replaced by something deeper, maybe even regret. As Claire reached a breathtaking crescendo, some patrons wiped away tears. Even the gruff old regular at the counter sat slack-jawed. The final note lingered. Tender, bittersweet. Silence. Then, thunderous applause. Claire sat still, breathless, fingertips resting lightly on the keys. She didn't dare move. Her hands trembled, not with fear, but with something she hadn't felt in years. Hope. She had no idea her life was about to change forever, and it all started with a dare she almost turned down. As the applause faded, Claire stood hesitantly, brushing dust from her apron, unsure whether to bow or just slip back to the kitchen. Before she could decide, the man stood and walked toward her. "Claire," he said, voice kind but steady. "Where did you learn to play like that?" She shrugged, awkward. "My mom taught me when I was little, before things got hard." He nodded, as if discovering a rare gem hidden in plain sight. The diner buzzed, customers whispered, all eyes still on her. "I'm Lucas Harrington," he said, offering his hand. "I own Harrington Music Studios. We sponsor young talents, scholarships, concerts." He smiled wider. And I think you just stunned this entire room. Clare blinked, stunned herself. Harrington Studios was legendary, a place of dreams, a place she'd only read about, long ago when she still allowed herself to dream. You have something special, Clare. I'm serious. If you want a real shot, meet me tomorrow. I'll arrange an audition. No tricks, no strings. Her heart pounded. Was this real? A fairy tale? She looked around. The diner seemed to hold its breath. I don't know, she said, torn between fear and hope. Lucas leaned in, voice soft. Don't let fear steal your gift. You're better than this place. You deserve to be heard. She hesitated, then nodded. Okay, I'll come. The diner erupted in cheers. Even her grumpy boss offered a rare approving nod. The next day, Clare stood outside Harrington Music Studios, small in her second-hand dress and scuffed shoes. Inside, golden chandeliers and polished floors gleamed. Musicians strode past with confidence and shining instruments. Clare took a breath, stepped in. Lucas greeted her warmly, introduced her to a panel of judges. Sharp-eyed, serious-faced men and women. A gleaming grand piano sat under a spotlight. Whenever you're ready, Lucas said. She sat down, hands shaking. Then she remembered the night before, how the music had lifted her. She closed her eyes and let go. Music poured out, raw, real, her struggles, her hopes, her soul. It wasn't perfect in technique, but in heart, it was flawless. Silence followed. Then, a judge wiped his eyes. Another smiled. Lucas grinned. You're not just good, one judge said. You're extraordinary. By day's end, Clare had a full scholarship, mentorship from world-class pianists, and the promise of her first small concert, soon. Tears welled in her eyes. After years hiding her light beneath survival, she was finally seen. Months later, her name glittered on a concert hall banner. Backstage, she sat in elegance, calm hands in her lap. Beyond the curtain, a crowd waited. Hundreds. Lucas appeared, beside her, gave a nod. Ready to change your life, Clare? She smiled, stood tall. I already did. As she stepped onto the grand stage under brilliant lights, she knew. One moment of courage had changed everything. And far away, in a dusty diner by the window, the old piano still sat, a silent witness to where it all began.